To Atp Live. I am Dr. Gbemisola Boyede, and I'm going to be the one answering your questions today. And of course, I'm going to have one of our moderator joining me very soon. So thank you so much for joining us. Invite your friends, invite family, and anybody that you know will benefit from this program. Which usually comes your way every Monday at 6 p.m. between 6 and 7. We try to answer all your questions that we can on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. Okay, I think I have my moderator here. Let me just add Nkechi now. Oh, Nkechi, you will need the latest version of Instagram to join me. Okay. Let's look. Sorry, let's see whether we can get Nkechi to join. Oh my goodness. Nkechi, you will need the latest version of Instagram to join. I think you need to update your Instagram app because that's what I'm getting. Okay, in the meantime, I'm just going to quickly share this to those who are on Facebook so that we can set up the live for watch party. Yeah, so I can see some people have started asking the questions already. Just give me a few minutes and I will quickly put it up on Facebook and then we can kickstart. And I hope in case you can quickly update your Instagram account so that you can join me live. All right. You're all welcome. Just trying to set up for those who are going to watch on the watch party on our Facebook group. And then we go straight away. Okay, lovely. Then I'm going to pin it, just announcements. Okay. I'm not sure whether I can see. Okay, I can see. Can you try? Let me know if you're able to. If you're able to join me. Let me see. Okay. So if you're watching me on Instagram, you can drop your questions straight on Instagram. If you're watching me on our Facebook page, you can drop your questions. If you're watching on YouTube, you can drop your questions. If you're watching on the watch party, you can drop your question, but I may not be able to see them immediately. And I think some of my moderators are going to assist me in pulling your question over to either the Instagram or the page where I can easily see them. And I'm still waiting for my moderator to join me. Ogwasu, welcome. I can see a lot of people on Facebook. Odebola said, my baby is not the way I want. That question is not very specific. So let me just start by saying, if you are going to ask any question, please try and be specific. We always like to know the age of your child, no matter the question you want to ask. The age of that child is so important because we all know that as pediatricians, we see children between the ages of 0 and 18 years. So it's a huge range. And the answer we're going to give to the same question for a 1-year-old may be different from what we're going to give for a 17-year-old. So please always tell us the age of your child. If you're going to ask me about weight, please tell me the latest weight of the child and the birth weight. If you want to ask question, please keep your question short and straight to the point. You don't need to tell me all the life history of the child. Just go straight to the question. So thank you so much. All right, I think let me just see whether Nkechi is back to join me now. Okay, let's see. Nkechi, let's see whether we can get you to join us now. Oh, Nkechi, you need the latest version of Instagram to join. That's what Instagram is telling me, unfortunately. So you have to update your Instagram app for you to be able to, you have to go to the latest version of Instagram to be able to join me live. Sorry. Okay, so I'll try and see what I can do. It's always challenging when I'm the only one here. Okay, let me start from Instagram. Yeah, Nkechi, can you please update your Instagram app because that is not allowing you to connect because you say you don't have the latest version of Instagram. So let me start with TFK Bags. He said, "Good evening, doctor. Please, my baby of 9 months this week. His poo has been semi-solid to almost solid. That is normal. That's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with the baby's poo being solid, with baby being semi-solid. As long as baby is not having watery stool and baby is passing stool regularly, that is perfectly normal." Okay, somebody else is trying to go live with me. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, I think Nkechi is able to join me now. Whew, thank God. Okay, because I don't like going through Instagram reading is skip my eyes. Okay, I'm saying, yeah. Hi, Nkechi, how are you? Hi. Okay, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Oh, lovely. Good to have you join us. I'm so sorry. I just quickly had to download update. Okay, and I think we're having issues with your internet now because it seems to be breaking. You're breaking, Nkechi. You're breaking so much. I can barely hear you. Okay, I think I'll continue while Nkechi's internet is better. I think your internet is breaking so much. I can barely hear you. Okay, Amina Loyinka Odulele. Say, "Good evening, doctor. I noticed my I was oh wait, so am I reading the right thing? Um no, I can't see anything again. Okay, yes, she said I was told to use olive oil. Is it olive oil? Cod olive oil. Is there anything like cod olive oil? Do you want to say cod liver oil? I guess that's what you want to say. Cod liver oil for my 13-month-old, but I need expert advice because oh no, I can't see your oh my god. Okay, I think Nkechi's account is logged out. All right. I can see. Is it mine or is it okay? Sorry. Okay. My baby is having bow leg. He started walking around 8 months. Okay, so if your baby has bow leg, we need to know how severe is the bow leg. So there's some bow leg that is what we call normal, like it's just normal variation and there's nothing wrong, and the child will eventually the leg will eventually straighten out, especially if it is something that runs in the family. But some children have bow leg due to rickets. They can have bow leg due to other conditions. So you don't just assume it's a cod liver oil thing. It's better to first see a doctor. So, and let's be sure there's no other sign. We'll examine the baby thoroughly. We'll look for other signs of rickets. We may need to do blood tests, check the level of the calcium, phosphorus, and things like that. And if we think, oh, it's vitamin, is either is calcium deficiency or whatever, we will give you the right thing. But if we think there's nothing, the child is otherwise well, we'll also tell you. But just giving your child liver oil, I didn't know how severe the bow leg is. I don't know any other issue about the child's vitamin D and calcium and all those things. It's not the right thing. So I would rather you first see a doctor first before you can you start just giving cod liver oil. Okay, I hope that's helpful. All right. Okay, are you back? Yes, ma'am. Okay, let's hope your internet is better. Can you read a question for us so that we can test you? Yes, ma'am. Like before you can you start cod liver oil. Okay, I hope that's helpful. All right. Okay, are you back? Yes, ma'am. Okay, I think I'm actually hearing myself back. Are you putting on two devices, Nkechi? Are you on two devices? Are you putting on your laptop? To my laptop to see if it's going to be better. Okay. Are you logging in through your laptop now for the Instagram? Yes. Okay, fine. Okay, so can you read the question now? Because I think I was just hearing myself back. Yes. Okay. For your chemists
I took her to the hospital and doctor prescribed multivitamin syrup, ma.
Okay, I think you have mixed out. Okay, that's all done. Let me read the two questions you have mixed out. Then you can continue from there. Obviously, you can't say that because you just log in. Okay, so somebody else is Mrs. Akaba is saying, my 13-month-old girl sucks her lower lips rigorously all day, including when she's sleeping. Yeah, so she has what we call it's one of the habits that babies can have, and yes, dentists worry that it may affect their dentition. Usually what we try to recommend at this age in 1 year old is that you distract them, you give them something else to kind of suck on, or differently, something that would distract the child from sucking on her lower lips. But if it is persistent, then you want to see the dentist or the pediatrician as well. Then just be sure there's nothing else going on, because the way you make it sounds like that's the baby sucking throughout the whole day. And that's usually very unusual for habits. Most habits you don't do it throughout the whole day. You do it and then will have some break time, then you do it. Like maybe some children do it maybe when they are tired, when they are bored, when they are trying to kind of get themselves to relax or sleep. So okay, Nkechi, you need to Nkechi, you need to use one device, and you just use one device and put the other one on silent, because I'm echoing back, and that's not good. It's not good for our transmission. So if you are using the laptop, please switch off. Put your phone on silent so that I don't keep hearing myself through your device. I kept hearing myself through your device, and it's not nice at all. Okay, so I think I've answered the question of the person who is sucking on lips. So then Fire is saying my 5-month-old baby is not eating well. So what's your definition of it?
She's running nose. She's having running nose.
Okay, so if your baby is not eating well, my own definition of a baby who is 5 months old eating is a 5-month-old should be sucking, should be on exclusive breastfeeding. So if your baby is having cough and running nose, then the baby may have respiratory infection. Most of the time they are viruses and they don't require antibiotics, they don't require anything more than just make sure you keep breastfeeding and keep the baby warm. But as they get but if the child is having fever, if the child is having difficulty with breathing, then we need to exclude things like pneumonia. So it's better that you take the child to the hospital so that the doctor can see the child. So I hope that is helpful. All right.
Okay, so our question is from J. Praise. The question is, my 3-year-old son ate mangoes last night and he's purging now with body temperature. What do I do, please, doctor?
Okay, so first and foremost, the child who ate mango and now purging is having fever is not the mango. Mango will not give the child fever. If I thought the child is even allergic to mango, the child may have what treats to, but it's not going to have fever. So try not to always put things together that are not necessarily related. This child may have had fever and diarrhea even if the child has not eaten mango, because the child may have been incubating something. But I notice that mothers always put things together based on their own understanding and all that. So, but that does not necessarily mean it is the mango that caused this child's. So this child looks to me like a child who is ill. So you can give paracetamol for the fever. You can give ORS for the what's it called now? You can give the ORS for the diarrhea and oral sink. So you can do that for the next 1 or 2 days and see whether it will resolve. But if the child keep on having fever, or the child keep on having what's it called now? If the child keep on having fever and the diarrhea, then you may need to take the child to the hospital for further evaluation. I hope that is helpful. Okay, so let me quickly go on to Facebook and take a few of the questions on Facebook before the Facebook people think we have forgotten them completely. Okay, so because I can see the Facebook questions are piling up already. So Mr. Debo Data asked about my baby is not the way I want. I don't understand your question. You need to really ask that question all over again, so I'm really sure of what exactly you see that you are not happy about. All right, Okwazu is saying my baby is 10 months old and he has been stooling, and we're presently in the hospital, and it's not subsiding. It's been placed on antibiotics and drip. So if your baby is in the hospital, the best person to ask questions is the pediatrician seeing the child, or the doctors managing your child, because they know better about your child. They've seen your child, they've examined the child, they are treating the child. So sometimes you just need to be patient, and then you allow the doctors to do their work. So if you say it's not, if stooling doesn't have to stop immediately. So when children are having diarrhea and we start treating them, the problem is not, we are not worried about the diarrhea, because the diarrhea will eventually stop. So you don't need to panic about the diarrhea. What is more important is the fact that the child doesn't get dehydrated. So I know that most time mothers worry about the fact that the baby is still stooling. But we are not worried about the stool. The stools don't kill children. It's not the stools that will kill them. It is the dehydration, it is the electrolyte. So as long as the doctor is giving the child drip, which is replacing the water and replacing the electrolytes, the child will be fine. Eventually the stool will stop, because it takes time for the body, because what happened in diarrhea is that some of the lining of the intestine is already gone. And because of that, the body is not absorbing all the water, it's not absorbing everything that is passing through. So some of them will still be passing through until the body has formed new lining for the intestine. So there's a normal, so sometimes diarrhea can last up to 10 days before it will eventually stop, before the new lining of the intestine will begin to absorb the water back and all that. So that's not the issue. The most important thing is that now that the baby is having diarrhea, are we replacing what the child is losing? So that is why it's important that the child is taking ORS and oral thing. If the child is able to drink, we give ORS. If the child is not able to drink, then the child can be on oral on drip. That is what we call intravenous fluids, and that is what is important. So just relax. So your baby is already in the hospital and it's being treated, so there's no need for you to panic. All right, I hope that is helpful. Stephanie Felix is saying, nice to have you here. Nice for you to join us too, Stephanie. My 2-year-old baby wakes up to cry in the middle of the night. If I give her food, she won't take. She only takes water occasionally and still continue crying. So there are many reasons why a baby can wake up in the night crying. And sometimes what babies are just having is what we call nightmares or night terrors. So sometimes you don't need to give the baby food. The baby is not hungry. Sometimes they just need for you to console them, to comfort them, and to reassure them, and then they will fall back asleep. So sometimes just from nightmares or night terror, it doesn't mean they are being attacked by witches or witches. This is something that happens a lot. So children can have nightmares, they can have night terrors and all that. So what you need to do is to just kind of reassure the child, let them feel your presence, that you are there, nothing is wrong. And most of the time they will eventually fall back and sleep. You don't need to start loading the child with water or food or anything. No, it's just most of the time it's just reassurance. Okay. Afusar, thank you for joining us, one of our moderators. Good to see you here. Jibake, thank you for joining us. I'm just trying to quickly run through the Facebook question, then we'll come back to Instagram. Okay, Ogo Okolo is asking, my baby is 7 months old, not able to stand erect on my lap. So babies of 7 months are not supposed to be standing. I don't know why mothers want to force these children to stand. You don't need to force them to stand. They're not supposed to stand. They are supposed to sit. So that's what I want a 7 month old to be doing. As long as the baby is 7 months, is able to sit either by himself or with some, because by 7 months they should be able to sit by themselves without pillow and all that. That is what is important. Sometimes it may be up to 8 months. So, but forcing them to stand on your lap is not necessary, because that's not the age for them to stand. Most babies start to stand by 10, 11 months. So that's when we want them to stand, and they will stand holding to something. Then they can start standing by themselves, complete baby by 12 months, and then they can start walking. So there's really no reason for you to panic about your baby not standing at 7 months. And your baby is if your baby is sitting, if your baby is not able to sit and not able to have neck control, then I will worry about the baby, because those are other signs. So a baby who is not able to stand on your leg, those are not the only signs that will tell me something is wrong. There will be other signs in the child. The child may also not be able to sit, because if the child is weak and the baby is not able to stand, then that child will also most likely not be able to sit properly. So those are other signs. So if your baby is able to sit by himself, get into sitting position, roll over, roll from lying on the tummy to rolling onto the back, and roll and put himself into a sitting position, there's really no reason for you to worry about that child. That child has enough tone. Okay, Jayola is asking, my baby is always complaining of itching in her feet. She's 3 years old. So a child who is itching in her feet, we need to know, what did you see on that feet? Are there rashes there or there's nothing there? So because there are two things here. It's either the child has some rashes on the feet, but if there are no rashes on the feet, then it's most likely the child is having a form of allergic reaction to something. So the question now is, what is this child reacting to? What is causing this child to have this sensation of itching? That's what you need to know. And there are thousands, things that people can react to. Children can react even to water. They can react to food. They can react to even like in the house, like outdoors, like even all those things, drugs, cream, powder, so many things. So sometimes you need to be very observant and keep a diary to know. It could be a particular food the child has eaten. You like, what is it that when the child, what normally happen before the child start having this itching episode? Can I figure it out? So sometimes you're able to figure it out, good. Then you just stop whatever it is. That's the solution. But if you cannot figure it out, sometimes you may need to see us, the pediatricians in the hospital, and then we can support you on how to figure it out. So I hope that is helpful. All right, so we'll come back to Instagram now. Let me just quickly see if I can take one or two more on Facebook. I think you have asked this question on our Facebook group, but let me just answer it because it's a question that must answered every evening whenever we do ATP Live. So she said, my 14-month-old baby is not taking any other food apart from pap and breast milk. And what should I do? So a baby, if a 14-month-old, a 1-year-old child, basically, who is not eating more than pap and breast milk, means we have already failed in introduction of complementary feeding, because that means that that baby was exposed mostly to pap right from beginning. So it is, you don't wait until they are 1 year old before you start trying to get them to eat other food. They should start eating other food from 6 months. And this is one of the things I keep preaching and I keep emphasizing, because I think Nigerian mothers, we always think that complementary feeding is just pap and milk. No, pap and milk. So you see people talking about maybe it's either series of pap or milk, and that's all. No, complementary feeding is your baby can eat any food, virtually any food that you have in your kitchen. So it's just that when they are starting, you started with porridge, purees, and as like by the time they're about 1 year, they should be eating everything you are eating. They should eat rice, they should eat yam, they should eat everything you are eating. And it's not going to start where the baby is just going to wake up one day and start to eat those food. You need to introduce it to them gradually and let them play with it, let them try. Sometimes when they are starting, don't be interested in the quantity they finish, because that's the mistake most mothers do. Because when you give them those food and they only take 1 or 2 spoons, then you just abandon and say that means child is not eating that one. Then you go for another one. No, it's okay for the child to take 1 or 2 spoons for the first day. Then the next, just keep offering it again. The same child will now begin to go to 4, 5. That is it. Don't expect that the very first day you introduce the food, baby is going to finish a whole bowl of eba or a whole bowl of amala. And then you must be patient, and then you must keep trying. So we always say that don't say you have tried, because I see people sending me questions 7 months old. I say I've tried everything. No, you have not. You have tried too much. If you have tried everything at 7 months, because you have to offer the same food like up to a week. We say some people will say 13 times. In other words, you need to offer it over and over, like 1 week, 13 times before you now say, oh, the baby doesn't want that. And then the way we offer the food also matters. We need to make sure we present our food properly. Plate, cup, spoon, please, no bottles. Don't ever do complementary feeding with bottles. It should be plate and cup or spoon. It should be porridge. It shouldn't be watery, because that's the issue. We always give them the bottles with the pap and the milk, and that's all the children want to suck on. They're only going to eat the thick, solid food. So then one day you just want them to jump onto rice or jump onto yam. They're not going to do that. So we need to start doing that, and then the food should be properly, right temperature, hot, no leftover food and all that. Then eat at the same time with the children. Don't let them see eating as a punishment. Let them see it as you'll be eating, and they will be the one. You will notice that most times when you are eating something, your children want to come and take the one you are eating, because they think that maybe you are enjoying better than them. So sit down together, eat together, make the meal time an interesting, happy time for children. Don't force them to eat. I know most of you like you want Dr. Baby to prescribe something for you that will make the children to eat. There is nothing. I've always told all of you that if anybody is selling any drug for you, they are just deceiving you. There's no drug. Multivitamin doesn't make them to eat. There's no drug. So just relax and be patient with them and keep trying. I know it's a lot of work. I'm not trying to diminish the effort you have to put into it. Some children are so lovely. In other words, you just put the food in front of them, they finish everything. Lovely. But you also have the picky eaters who will not eat, but even the little they will eat, just at least try and, try and make sure you offer it and try variety. Let's not just only want to give only pap as a cereal. You can do oats, you can do other things, you can do purees of your fruits, just be innovative with it. So because it's a question that we can spend the whole day answering, so what I normally recommend is that if you go to our Facebook group, we have what we call the unit section. Under the menu, you will see menu, you will see topics, discussion. There's a unit as one of those icon there. Click on that. The second unit is actually on complementary reading. It has a lot of videos. It shows you how to do this thing. These are our local veggies like ewedu, like okra and all that. Do amala, soft one. They don't have to finish a whole bowl of amala like you. Even with 2 or 3 of the swallows that you give them you've made your ewedu with crayfish, with everything. You make sure you had all the things inside. Then they can take it. So, and that's it. So you just have to do it. And children eat more often than we do. We eat 3 times a day. Most time at that age, they need to eat like 4 times, sometimes up to 6 times. So they don't have to eat so much because their stomach is small, but they need to eat it more frequently. But the most important thing is that we need to add variety and we have to start early. Please, let's start from 6 months. Let's not wait until they are 1 year before we now start wondering why they are not taking solids. So this, for everybody that has that same question, because I know we're going to have many of them, this is the answer. So if you ask me again, I'm just going to say watch the video all over again and get the answer. So let's take a few more from Instagram, then we'll come back to Facebook. So just stay with us. I'm still coming about Facebook people. All right. Okay, Nkechi, go on.
So Amalola is asking, she said, "Good evening, doctor. Please, my 8-year-old son started having cough, running nose with sneezing, but no temperature yet. What is the first aid remedy I can administer to him?"
It's just cough and sneeze. Is it cough and sneezing?
Cough, running nose with sneezing.
Okay, that sounds like somebody who is having, like I said, what we call a respiratory tract infection. Most of the time are just viruses because there's no fever, there's nothing. So for such children, we just say keep them warm, give him lots of fluids, lots of warm fluids like tea, drinks like that, and let the child be. It will blow over. If you want to give vitamin C, you can give. That means vitamin C is going to cure you. Vitamin C is just part of what builds your immune system to fight all those viruses and all that. But viruses usually run their course. In other words, when you have a viral infection, it will start and it will end on its own. You don't need any drugs, you don't need any antibiotics. For other children, we usually don't recommend cough syrup for young infants at all. But again, this is an 8-year-old. You can give him something that can help him. Some of the cold remedies for older children is fine. But most of the time, they don't really need that. Just keep them warm, give lots of fluids, and it will run its course. And that's what I would recommend here.
Okay, I don't know how to, but
they'll just read the question. Don't worry, they will see.
LOP for a baby to 3 months.
Sorry, I can't get that.
Is it normal for a baby to start kicking at 3 months?
Kicking? Do you mean a baby in the womb or a baby outside the womb? Because I don't understand that question. So you have to be very. Okay, I think you mixed out some people's question. No, maybe when you were reconnecting back. So because they will get upset with us if we don't answer. So Blessing is asking, my baby of 2 months does a baby of 2 months really need Bisham Ampiclo because of BCG abscess? It was recommended by a doctor who is not a no, your baby do not need any ampiclots for a BCG abscess. It's not even going to do anything to it. So a BCG abscess is a excessive reaction to the BCG vaccine, and it's going to clear on its own. If it's very bad, I don't know how bad is this one because I've not seen a picture of it. Sometimes we use an anti-tuberculous drugs. we don't use ampiclox because it's not going to work on it. So we use that. So if you are really worried about it, you really need to see a pediatrician for that, because I'm not so sure the other people will be able to figure it out. So don't use ampiclox, whether bisham or no bisham. Doesn't really necessary. Okay. I just want to be sure I answered the question before you rejoined us, so that they don't get upset with us. Oh my goodness, where am I? Okay. Okay, yeah, I've seen it. My 8-month-old doesn't take breast again. He prefers cereal formula and eats like 8 times a day. Okay, so there are many reasons why that could have happened, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But I still want you to breastfeed your baby if you can. And I think it's too early for an 8-month-old to win himself. But some babies win themselves early. And the reason what happens is that you, as the mom, may have consciously or unconsciously reduce your own breastfeeding rates. Especially most of us, once our baby start eating other food, and maybe you have nannies and you let the nannies take over, they do all the feeding of the baby. So your baby does not see you as often as before for the breast milk, then maybe just begin to forget about breastfeeding, and that's what happens. So the baby automatically win themselves. So if you are giving your baby a weight should not be eating 8 times a day. That's too much. Your baby should be eating maybe 3 or 4 times. You should be taking the rest as a breast milk. So if you have replaced, what you have basically done is you have replaced all the baby's food with other food. So if baby is eating all the other food, then there will be no time for the baby to take the breast milk. Why would the baby want breast? Because the baby is full already. So if you want the baby to see suck, then you need to reduce the frequency of you really need to be very specific when you're asking questions to a pediatrician. 4 to 9 months, or 4 to 9 years, or 4 to 9 weeks. They are not. I really need to know which one you meant, so because they are two different things. Sorry for those on Facebook. I think I'm back now. I'm sorry, but I think my internet went out briefly, but it's back. Thank you for staying still. Okay, I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, let me know. Okay, so let's continue. So the person who asked about question 4 to 9, I guess you mean 4 to 9 years old. So they should be eating eggs, but if they don't want to eat egg, that is fine, as long as they're taking other protein. So fish, meat. The most important is that your children are getting other protein. So it doesn't necessarily have to be egg only, but they must take other sorts of protein. I hope that is helpful.
Okay, someone is asking, my baby of 8 months plus stood black stool. I took him to a pediatrician and we're asked to do FBC, blood clotting, and stool test. The test came out okay, still waiting for the stool test.
Yeah, so just hold on. So you're already seen a pediatrician, and I think your pediatrician is already doing what is right. So there's no need to panic. Just wait for your pediatrician to sort it out. So we need. I think the most important thing for us is to make sure that your baby is not bleeding, and that is why the stool test is important. We need to know whether is there blood in that stool or not. That's the most important thing in a baby who is passing dark stool. So that's what we really need to be sure of. So I hope that's just relax first. Okay. Do we still have any more question? Okay, I think the person who is asking about the kicking question is saying is kicking the baby. So that's the baby in the womb. There's nothing wrong with the baby kicking at 3 months. That's fine. So that's 12 weeks. So that's fine. Baby can kick at 12 weeks. Okay, so and I think the person who is also saying baby is turning on the side. She doesn't roll, but she's lying with her back. She can roll on both sides. You see, mother speak. You always confuse me. So you said she doesn't roll, but she can roll on both sides. You are still confusing me. Just say my baby can turn. Just don't use the word roll because you are confusing us, and I guess you're also confused with it. Just say my baby can roll from the back to the tummy. Oh no, my baby can turn from the back to the tummy, or can turn from the tummy to the back. That's what you should. That's what I want to hear. Just forget the rolling, because I guess we are getting confused with all these questions about the rolling. Okay. Okay, let me go back to Facebook because I think Ikechi internet has logged her out again, and then she will come back. All right. For those on Facebook, so Oloruntayo is saying, my baby will be 8 months on 27 and his current weight is 8.3. Please, I notice these days scratches his eyes too much. So what is your question? Because you have only given me information. You have not asked any question. If your question, let me just help you. If your question is whether the weight is okay or not, the weight is okay. If your question is about why is the baby scratching the eyes, I don't know, because you have not provided any much information. Are the eyes red? Are they discharging? Is it watery discharge? Is it pus coming out? You need to provide more information. And when you're asking questions, ask specific questions. I don't like reading minds. I can't read minds. I don't like to assume your questions. I prefer you tell me your questions so that I don't assume, because sometimes I've done assumption and I'm wrong. So it's better you tell me specifically what you want to know. Okay, so Gbemisola Boyede on Facebook is asking, my baby is 8 months yesterday, and ever since she was born, pulse Ikpin in Yoruba has been coming from her eyes. And she has been given high drop at birth, which it worked for a while, but every time she sleeps and wakes up, it's come out. So it is normal for babies to have eye discharge in the morning. Usually it's whitish. We should just wash it out and that is it. But is she always having the eye discharge during the day, like throughout the day? So in other words, when you have given her bath in the morning, even you, most time when you wake up in the morning, you can see that you have some discharge in your eyes. Is dry sometimes. But if your eyes is now discharging during the day, then that means there's a problem. And that is the one that we will worry about. So there's nothing wrong with the baby having eye discharge in the morning. The question is, does your baby have eye discharge during the daytime when the baby is not sleeping? And after you've cleaned the one in the morning, as baby is going, throughout the day, the baby still having eye discharge. What color is it? White, is it yellowish? If your baby is still having eye discharge during the day, yellowish and or the eyes is always dripping water, then there's a problem. Then you need to see a pediatrician. But if it's only the one you see first thing in the morning, there's really no reason for you to worry about that. Okay. So Queen D is saying, my baby of 15 months is having this little pimple like rash on her face and neck, one on the face and one on the neck. It started like a boil. It's been there since she's about 8 months old. Your baby is 15 months, that's 7 months. It has refused to clear off. And they say it's allergies. And I know, I don't think it's allergies. If it's allergy, it can't be there for 7 months. So your baby is having what look like a boil rash on the face and on the neck. And it is still there for 7 months. This is something else. So I'll really say you should see another, get another opinion. You may want to see another pediatrician, or you may want to see a dermatologist. But allergic rashes, they don't stay on forever. They will come and they will go, then they will come back again, then they will go. But not that they will come and stay for 7 months. No, that's not allergy. And allergy rashes are not one. Like, you could actually say that there are two separate, like a boil thing on the face. So that is not allergy. Allergy rash just like something that is spread all over. It won't just be only one on the face, one on the neck. That alone is not allergic rash. So the allergy rash will affect the whole face, or affect the whole neck, or affect a particular part of the body, and it will go. It will clear, even whether you do anything or not, and then it may come back again. It is recurrent kind of rashes. So it's not something that will stay for 7 months. That is not likely allergy. Okay, Valentina, thank you so much. I'm still waiting for Nkechi to come and join me back on Instagram. We're just trying our best. Okay, yesterday is asking, good evening. Please, my boy will be 5 years by May. He's having consistent running nose since birth. Wow. I'm always giving vitamin C constantly to go for 1 week and come back. Exactly. I just want to know what is normal. No, it is not normal for a baby to be having running nose for 5 years. And it is coming and going. So your baby most likely have what we call allergic rhinitis. So it's a form of allergic condition that, just like people have asthma, just like they have some skin eczema. So people can also have allergic kind of condition that affect the nose. So they're always having watery nose, they're always sneezing, they're always rubbing their nose. So it's more of allergic rhinitis, and it can be treated. Sometimes we have to use some anti-allergy medication. Sometimes they have to use some nasal sprays for a while, or sometimes we just know what is causing, what are the triggers to avoid it. Sometimes some people have it during season, some season, maybe during winter in some places and all that. But so you important things to know what normally trigger is, and sometimes during those flare period when they tend to have it more, we usually give them something to help them. So you may want to see your pediatrician, or you may want to see an ear, nose, and throat doctors. Those are the people that tend to manage allergic rhinitis. All right, thank you, Dokan. May is asking, my 15-month-old start drooling. You mean drooling or stooling? I guess you meant stooling. Okay. After she ate egusi soup, it was her first time, and I stopped giving her. Then she kept stooling after 5 days and then stopped. What else was I supposed to do? You have done the right thing. You don't need to do anything more. Take her to the hospital. But no, you don't buy drugs to stop stooling. When a child is having watery stool, what you need to do is to give ORS, oral rehydration salt. You now mix it into water, it becomes oral rehydration solution. That is all you need to give your baby. And you can also give oral zinc. But in your own case now, it is very obvious what caused the you think is something reaction to the egusi soup. It's a possibility. Your baby could have food intolerance, could have food allergy, maybe to something in the soup. But the way to know for sure is to give her again the egusi soup and see whether she's stool again, because that may just be a once-off. Again, when you are giving food to babies, please make sure they are properly cooked. Make sure they are cooked very well, because their own intestine, they may not be able to digest everything as easily. So make sure it's properly cooked. Make sure it is hot, and make sure avoid food hygiene, very important. So, but like I said, baby can also have food intolerance, maybe to any of the contents of the soup itself. So the best option is to try again and see whether she's stool. If she's stool again, then you can confirm that most likely she's having allergies to something in that soup. But if she doesn't stool again, then it's just a coincidence. It may not necessarily have to, or it may just be something that has to do with hygiene and all that. It may not necessarily have to be that she's allergic to egusi or something inside the egusi soup. But if at the time she's having diarrhea, you don't need to take her to the hospital. You can still do some basic first aid. And the first aid for diarrhea is to give ORS and oral zinc. You can buy it in any chemist shop. You don't need a prescription for it. You can make your own ORS salt sugar solution by yourself and give your baby. As long as baby is drinking, don't worry about the stooling. It will stop. It will eventually stop. And so don't focus on, and don't need to give antibiotics. You don't need to give anything. And then you can, but if the baby is not able to drink, and or the baby is passing blood in the stool, then those are the time that you really need to take her to see a pediatrician. All right, let me just finish with Facebook, then I'll come back to Instagram. So Elizabeth is saying, my baby, twins of 3 years, started complaining of stomach pain, and one started having convulsion and body not hot. So when we got to the hospital, both of them had temperature. The infection level was high. Yes, one is about 34,000, one is about 11,000. What can make them have high temperature with fever, or but I don't with fever? So your baby already have infection. You already know the answer. The doctor already done blood test. So the baby have infection. So this infection that is causing the fever, and that's making them the high fever is what is making them to have convulsion. But what your doctor needs to now know, where is the infection? Is the infection in the brain? Is it in the, because you said they have convulsion, so, and they have abdominal pain. So I don't know whether is this infection starting in the intestine? Is it something in the brain because of the convulsion? That is for your doctors to figure out, and I'm sure your doctors already figured it out. But what we can all conclude is the fact that based on what you've told me, your twins have infection, but I don't know where the infection is primarily. But I'm happy you're in the hospital, and I'm sure they will take care of it. The most important thing is for us to treat the infection, and then and get the children well first. So I hope that is the question you are asking, because I'm not really sure, because you say what can make them, but you already told me they have infection. So that is the infection is what is making them to have the fever. So I guess that is straightforward. Okay, but I hope that is helpful. All right. Adaku Prudence is saying, my baby of 5 months takes only tea. A year, 5 months. Okay. A year, 5 months takes only tea without bread. I have tried anything, but no avail. Is that tea okay for her? I don't understand what the question is really. Is that must you always take bread with tea? You don't always have to take bread with tea. You can actually drink tea on its own. That is fine. And a 1 year, 5 months old can drink tea. But my own question is that the only food your baby is eating? Because the way you are asking about this make me feel like that your baby wants to take only tea as a meal instead of taking it with a bread or something. If that's the question, the baby can drink tea on its own. Baby does not always have to take bread with tea every time, no. But your baby must be eating other food. We don't want your baby to be taking only tea, because if your baby is taking tea, the baby is not eating, and your baby is not going to be gaining weight. So please make sure that your child eats other food apart from tea. But if the child wants to drink tea separate from the food after eating all the other food, that's fine. Baby does not necessarily have to take bread with tea. But if you are taking breakfast and your baby only wants to take tea as breakfast, that is not appropriate. So you may try out other cereal and other things. I hope that question is clear. Okay. Blessing saying, I'm so happy with this question and answer. Thank you. My baby just completed 6 months, and I started with water after a few hours. I gave him semo. He ate it so well. Wow, that's good. That's lovely. I know some mothers worry that their baby is eating semo. They don't want their baby to eat semo. They want their baby to eat something they buy in the shops. And I always say that your baby can eat any food as long as baby is able to tolerate it. Of course, I'm not saying you should go and crack coconuts to give to a 6-month-old. Usually when you are starting, you start with semi-solid, soft food, porridge, purees. But it doesn't have to be pap and milk only. No. So like this baby that wants to use semona, you should give it with vegetable. You can put crayfish, you can put status fish, you can put it in the ewedu and all that. So that is fine. So those are the things that you can do. Yes. So Gbemisola, I think I've answered your question. I think it's very extensive. So that's fine. So you don't need to worry about only whitish discharge in the morning time. That's not high discharge that we worry about. Final, Elizabeth says, sorry, my question is that they have high temperature but no fever. Elizabeth, high temperature means fever. That is the definition of fever. this is one of the reasons I always want parents to tell me what they meant and avoid medical jargons. So medical jargon is fever, but high temperature is actually fever. So you can't say they have high temperature and no fever. So I mean, I'm confused. That's actually fever. It means high temperature. So, and I think from your question, you said the temperature was, did you give us the temperature? Yeah, you said the temperature was above 38. Yes, so that's fever. So fever is not malaria. Okay, yeah, I know where you're coming from. Okay, I know where you're coming from. So most Nigerians, when we say fever, we meant it to mean somebody is having malaria. No. In medical jargons, when once your body is hot, that is the fever. Now the question now is what caused the fever? Now most of people always think, oh, I have fever and I've treated malaria. Why am I still having fever? As if malaria is the only thing that causes fever. No, fever means the body is hot. Now, what makes the body to be hot can be 100 and maybe 1,001 things. People can have fever from malaria. You can have fever from infections, and this infection can affect virtually every organ of your body. So you can have fever from having eye infection, from having respiratory infection, from having even something stomach bugs, from having infection in the brain, from having infection in boils like in the skin, anything, any infection anywhere in the body can make you to have fever. And so you can imagine all your body parts, and you can imagine having fever, having infection, even in the bones, what we call osteomyelitis and all that. So people can have fever even from dehydration. If your children are not drinking enough water and they are dehydrated, this can also cause fever. So fever is not they have infection because their WBC is white blood cells are so high. And so like I said, I'm not so sure where the fever is coming from because I don't have all the information your doctors have, but definitely from the blood tests that you release, they have infection. I hope that is helpful. Okay, let me just answer the last two questions on Facebook, then we'll finish with Instagram. Okay, Shokefun is asking, I want to start complementary feeding. Can I mix raw egg in carrot puree for my baby? No, you can't mix. Baby cannot eat raw egg. Please never feed your children with raw egg. It has to be cooked. So if you add raw egg to your pap, you must cook it. If you're adding it to your carrots, unless you're going to cook it, but please don't give them raw egg alone. There's a condition um uh, we call it salmonellosis. When you take raw egg, there are some bacteria that thrive in that raw egg, and children eat it, they can have that infection, and it's terrible. It's a family similar to what we call typhoid fever. So please don't give children raw egg ever. You must cook it. You must cook. If you add it there's nothing wrong with adding the raw egg to the pap, but it must be cooked on fire before you give to the child. I hope that is helpful. In any food you're adding it to, please cook it first. Please, Shokafun, you can go to our unit section on our Facebook group and do the complementary feeding course. I hope that is helpful. Okay, why is this one not showing? I can't see the second. Okay, so Modupe question is, my baby of 1 year, how are being very careful. I'm sorry for those that miss me on Facebook. I'm sorry, my internet seems to be off. So I was answering Modupeola question. Say my baby has this rash all over his body. We have used everything. If you have used everything for a rash, please stop using everything. Stop using anything. Now, what you now need to do is to take that baby to see a specialist. You need to see, preferably, I would even say preferably see a dermatologist. Dermatologists are the skin specialists, and that's exactly what I was trying to get into, because rashes are not caused by the same thing and they may look similar. That is why you have used everything. So even your neighbor that have used something for her own rash and it's clear and tell you, oh, just use this cream, is the what do you call it? It's the it will clear any rash. It's a lie. And that is why it does not clear, because once you don't get the diagnosis right, the treatment is not going to be right. So if a rash, for example, is caused by ampiclox or augmentin, it's a drug rash, and you are even now using maybe another antibiotics and all that, as you are going to worsen that rash. You understand? So that is why you should be careful. Don't just take drug treatment for rashes. Make sure you know the cause of the rash, and the best person to tell you is a doctor. If you have seen doctors and you are not getting solution, you need to see the specialist. So sometimes we as doctors too, we are sometimes confused, but the specialists are the dermatologists. So they will now be the ones. Sometimes they too need to do more tests. They may do some screen scrapings and all that tests before they are sure the cause of your rash, and then they can treat it. Now, also let me quickly add to the fact that sometimes some rashes will come back again. By nature of those rashes, especially for those children who have allergic kind of rashes, allergic dermatitis, atopic dermatitis, it will keep coming and going. So don't get offended, don't get upset, don't think your doctor don't know what they are doing, because you went to Dr. A gives you treatment, you think it's okay, then the thing come back, then you say, oh, Dr. A doesn't know what he's doing, go to Dr. B. You need to first understand. That's why most of the time, what I normally do first is to let parents understand what to expect with the condition that you are presenting with. So it most of the time it is a recurrent skin condition. So now there's no cure. What we just do basically is to manage it. It's just like having asthma. It's just like having some of these allergic conditions. They will keep coming, just like that mom that asks about allergic rhinitis. No matter what you do, they may keep coming. But sometimes, as the children get older, they sometimes outgrow some of these allergic conditions. So, but just have that at the back of your mind so that you don't get discouraged. So, most of the time, this kind of skin rash that you've used everything that is still not gone, most of the time they are the kind of allergic condition that will come and go. But the dermatologist can support you in getting them properly managed. Usually, you are not going to just go once and that's the end. You may have to keep going for what we call follow-up checks until it's all over. All right, I hope that is helpful. So let's go back to Instagram. Can you see all the questions now so we can answer them and then we'll...
I don't know if I'm seeing all the questions, but I'm seeing few questions.
Okay, did you see the one about the twins that have itchy red eyes?
No.
Okay, so let me answer. When I get to the one you can... Okay, let me just answer the ones I can see. Then when I get to the one you can see, then you can take it off from there. So somebody said Oluchi's twins have itchy red eye. You've seen the pediatrician was given eye drop. It's after the medication stop, it starts itching again. So itching eyes is most likely an allergic condition. So it is not an antibiotics kind of treatment. So you may want to see a ophthalmologist this time around, because ophthalmologists are the one that normally treat those kind of things. So Udochi is now clarifying that maybe people cannot turn from her back to her tummy at 7 months. So that is a flag. That is a flag. So can your baby sit without support? Because if your baby is not able to do that, then I think you may want to see a pediatrician. That's what I'm trying to say. Because usually that is about 5 to 6 months. Your baby should be able to turn. So your baby is not turning from her back to her tummy, yeah, you need to see a pediatrician. Yeah, because 7 months old, it was maybe a preterm baby. Because usually if the baby is born early, we need to calculate their age and readjust the age down. I mean, based on how early they were born. Jessie is saying my son of 14 months old had hot water burns. Wow, he was taken to the hospital and the leg was clean. Blah blah blah. So what's the question? You have already gone for treatment. Okay, so we're going for treatment every day. The leg is ill now, but the scar is still there. What can I use? It's too early now. You just finish treating the thing. The scar is going to be there for a while. You don't just leave the scar alone. You don't just leave it alone. Don't even start worrying about that. Just let the body care for it. I'm sure you see people with hot water burns scar. So the most important thing for us not to have those hot water burns. Please, mothers, let's be careful. This once you have a infant and toddler, they are very, very busy, they are very active. 1 second is all it takes. So you need to deliberately make all those efforts to avoid these hot water burns. But leave the sky alone. It will clear with time. What we need to watch out for is whether your baby have what we call keloids, like you should still be going to see your doctors. I mean, the doctors that treated the child for the hot water burns. So you may need to see the burns and plastic surgeons. That is if it's so bad. But I think you should just leave the sky alone. Just even forget about that one. That's not what to worry about now. It's something you can worry about in the future. But if it is the fact that the skin is looking white or something, you don't really see what kind of scar you have. There's nothing anybody can do about it. That's it. But if it is the fact that there's some inning, like keloids, like it's too thick, then that one, there's something they can do about that. Okay, Happy Well.
Happy Well says, my baby is 3 months. She sucks her hands and mouth a lot. Even after feeding, what should I do? I don't want to introduce pacifier. She doesn't explore with hands. Please, what should I do? Okay.
Just leave her alone. Suck her hands and mouth. Baby sucking hands and mouth is actually telling you maybe the baby is not getting enough breast milk. So are you breastfeeding well? Because most of the time they do that because they want to suck. But if you are breastfeeding well and your baby is still struggling with that, then you can wear like mintings and things in the baby's hand so that it will prevent the baby's hand from going to the mouth. At 3 months, you can start putting like rattles in the baby's hand. Then the baby can use the rattle to play, and that will help. You don't need to put pacifier, but most important thing is to breastfeed. Make sure you're breastfeeding very well first. But you can also put other things in the baby's hand to play with that baby will now know be able to suck the hands and mouth. Yeah.
She said she doesn't want to introduce pacifier.
No pacifier. No need for pacifier.
I think that's all the questions I have at my end.
Okay, I can see our sister Basirat is saying, what can be the cause of frequent rashes on my baby's body? I thought it might be it, but some weeks ago we went to the hospital and doctor said it was infection. She was put on drugs and injection, but it still persists. But I need to know what causes infection on the body and neck and what can be the remedy. So your doctors have already seen your baby. So I want to believe your doctor is right. But I don't know, what kind of infection your baby doctor say it is, because you didn't say whether it's bacterial infection or fungal infection. So you need to know all those information first. So, but if you are not satisfied, you may need to see, like I said, a pediatrician, or you may want to see a dermatologist. But most important thing is to prevent infection, hand washing, very important. You wash your hand with soap and water regularly. That is very important. You can put a little bit of antiseptics in the bathing water for your baby and all that. But like I said, skin rashes could be different things, could be even allergy, could be many things. So you and your doctor, and another skin rash may have infection on the top. In other words, there's initial skin rash, then gets infected. So there are two different things. So, but like I said, if it's not going, you can go back to your doctor first for a follow-up. But if you are still not getting result, then you want to see the specialist. How that is helpful. And then Damelite Cake say, my baby of 8 months sweat a lot, even when the place is warm. If the place is warm and cold, okay, or do you mean when the place is cold? Because if it is warm, then somebody should sweat now. But if it is cold, you mean it depends on. So when people say baby sweat a lot, I want to understand what's your definition of sweat a lot. So because baby definitely, because they do a lot of activities, they can sweat, and some people sweat more than other people. But is it that when you have to, the baby sweat to the point that you have to change the bed sheets, you have to change your, like it will be soaked as if water poured on the bed or something. When you start having that, that's when we will now begin to see it as something, and then you may want to see a pediatrician for that. So yeah. Okay, although she's giving me more answer. Yeah, your baby was low birth weight, even though was born at full time. That means there's some underlying issues going on already with baby, because most babies should be born at full time, should be weighing at least 2.5 kilos. So if your baby is 2.3 above, we need to know what happened, what was the problem. So I think your baby is somebody that really needs to go and see a pediatrician, because we need to know why was the baby small even when the baby was born at time. Was there other problem the baby had in the womb that may now be part of the reason why the baby is having this? I would say maybe a little bit of a delay, but I'm not saying baby is delay permanently, because I don't know the other, see, this kind of question, I need to ask so many other questions about your baby. But the more you talk to me, the more it seems to me like your baby is picking up some flag that there may be a problem going on, and this is a sign that we need to look into your baby more closely. So you may want to see your baby close, you may want to see the pediatrician so that they can provide some support for you, at least just to evaluate the baby, examine the baby, and see what that things we can do for the baby. Okay. Olayinka is saying, can I give my baby of 6 months old multivitamin? It doesn't eat well. Yeah, so okay, there's nothing wrong with your baby multivitamin, but the multivitamin is not the solution to the baby eating well or baby not eating. So you need for your baby, your baby is 6 months old, so you should just be starting complementary feeding. So I'm not really sure what you mean your baby is not eating well. You should still be doing a lot of breastfeeding. So breastfeeding is what you really need to be doing. So your baby should be taking a lot of breastfeeding, and then you are now gradually introducing complementary food. So what you need to do now is to go and watch, do our unit calls on complementary feeding, so that you have all that information. Okay, Asisa, I'm not sure why Asisa is laughing, but I guess we said something funny. Is pacifier not good? Yeah, we as pediatrician, I know there's a lot of controversy. Some people believe in pacifier, some people, but I would go with WHO, and I'll go with, we generally pediatricians, maybe in Nigeria, we don't believe in pacifier, because one, it can cause nipple confusion. So when your baby is sucking on pacifiers a lot, then they don't want to suck on the breast, or they get confused. Secondly, they suck in a lot of hair. So that's why they always have this so much gas in their tummy. So that's another thing. The third thing is germs, especially if you are not very careful. So some of this pacifier, they drop on the floor, people just pick them, rub it on their clothes, and put it back in the baby's mouth, and they're like, wow, I'm screaming. And then the baby gets introduced to germs a lot. So, and we found out that babies that suck on pacifier a lot, sometimes they don't want to suck on the breast. I think that's our main worries. So it's better to avoid. I know there are schools of thought, really those in the European world, they tend to favor pacifier, but those of us in Africa, we don't. And for obvious reasons, especially some of the reasons, and some of the Europeans too don't favor it as well, because most of them don't breastfeed anyway. So sometimes it's an issue. But if you're breastfeeding, it's better you would let your baby be established well on breastfeeding before you even introduce pacifier, and preferably don't, because let your baby suck on the breast, because they get it confused and then they want pacifier instead of sucking on the breast. Okay, what can one start making baby girl hair? I don't really have any fast and hard rules on it, but my whole concern is, number one, be careful. Don't put a lot of traction and pressure on the baby's head. Their scalp is so soft. Please don't try to live your life through your baby, through your children. I know mothers want their baby looking fine and all that, but please don't put any attachment on the baby's hair. Don't attach anything. You can use ruffles, soft ruffles, and just pat their hair maybe into 8 or 6. Those kind of things is fine. But once you start going to, you are putting attachment, you are putting this, you are pulling on their hair, you are going to, then please, hygiene, wash your hands when you make the hair and all that. That's very important. So those are the things I would recommend for now, but it is really your choice. Some people do it. So as long as you are able to handle it and you are doing it gently, that's fine. Okay, it seems like Instagram questions are not ending. uh, uh, okay, yes. Okay, Adesh Frisola say, How do I know if my baby is eating enough food? We just started complementary feeding, but she always cry and refuse the food. So how do you know your baby is eating enough food? The best answer is your baby will be gaining weight. The weight of the baby tells us whether your baby is getting enough food or not. Now, if you're just starting complementary feeding, please breastfeed more. Don't reduce your, see, this is where we start having issue with complementary feeding, because people think I'm starting complementary feeding. Thank God the breastfeeding is all over. Breastfeeding is not over, and you are not reducing the breastfeeding. You will continue to breastfeed like you were breastfeeding. You are only adding, and when you are just adding, you should add a little at a time. That's what we're saying. When you, the first time it may be 1 spoon, then you make it 3 spoons, then you make it 5 spoons. You gradually build on it. Don't expect the baby to take everything, and the baby is not going to take more than 2 complementary feeds when you just start. Then you build it up. So I think I always want mothers for, I found out that those who do those that your complementary feeding course, because I spent so much time on doing complementary feeding talks, and I have a lot of tips and all that for you on our Facebook group. Even if you scroll through our Instagram page as well, you see all of our feeding tips as well. Those who start with that knowledge and you follow that procedure, you know what to expect, you know how to go about it. I found out that you are more successful with your complementary feeding. But if you go with the blank mindset and you just want the children to just eat, and you are not being patient with the processes and everything, then you get frustrated, the baby get frustrated, then we're back to my baby is not eating. So please just go, don't even worry, your baby is just starting. So just go first and do that course. You will understand what I'm saying better, because it tells you what to do, how to do it, what quantity do you need to give, how many times do you need to give it. So there are so many information, because I found that sometimes mothers have even the wrong expectation. Your expectation is wrong. So some people expect that a 6-month old should finish 150 meals of pap. No, this is 6 months old should only take like about 50 meals. So for them, when the baby doesn't finish the 150 meals, then the baby is not eating, whereas the baby has taken more than enough. So then you now start getting into this battle of forcing the children to eat, and then the battle will never be won. So please do that orientation first, so that you know what to expect. And like I said, don't reduce your breastfeeding. You keep breastfeeding your baby the same way, and then you just keep adding other food. I hope that helps. And crying does not mean baby is hungry or the baby is really, so then how do you make the food? Is it water? Don't give complementary feeds through bottles. I keep saying that all the time. So I hope that is helpful. All right. So somebody is asking, does eating beans make children tall? Okay, that's a myth that we all grew up with. Beans are a source of protein. You need protein to grow, you need protein for development. So it doesn't necessarily mean it is only the beans that make you grow tall. You need to eat other sorts of protein apart from beans. Okay, our time has gone. I'm just trying to see if I can finish answering Instagram questions so that we can go. All right. Is it Dr. Dyer? Say my baby of 1 year cries most time she wants to poo. Her physics is hard. Yes, doctor recommended drug and it's relaxed, but it's back again. So your baby is having constipation, and then the question is, why is your baby having constipation? Your baby needs to drink a lot of water. You need to take fruits. Must take vegetable food that are rich in fiber. Very, very important. So if your baby is not taking all those, please let's get rid of all these junk food, biscuits, pastries, and all that. Those are the things that make children to have constipation. Let them drink water, not even all these fizzy drinks. All these fizzy drinks in bottles and all those things that we serve. I'm not going to mention their names. Please let the child drink a lot of water, at least not less than 5 to 6 cups of water in a day, and let them take fruits. Apple, banana. You can puree it. You can mix it with milk. You can put it into their cereals. There are many ways you can add the fruits and the veggies to your child's food. So those are the things your children, do okra, those kind of things. Those are things children should be eating. It will help them with their bowel movements. So your baby is taking a lot of water, eating fruits, eating vegetables, and your baby is constipated, then you really need to see a pediatrician, because you need to be sure. So the solution is not to be giving drugs to just help the child move the bowel all the time. The most important thing is to address the underlying thing first. So, but if you are doing the right thing and maybe you see constipated, and you maybe may have some other medical conditions that may make a child to be constipated all the time, And so you really need to see a pediatrician. But 90% of the time is boiled down to the water, to the food, to the diet. So that we really need to address. And not cereal all the time. If baby is on cereal all the time, no water, no cereal, no fruits, no veggies, they are going to be constipated as well. All right, Blessing try to say thank you for your reply. Please, should I discontinue the ampiclox since the abscess has busted? Yes, I don't think the ampiclox is necessary. If the treatment was because baby has infection, then that is justified. But if it is the BCG abscess, like I said, when I always answer questions, I answer questions based on what you told me. You told me your baby has a BCG abscess. BCG abscess is a tuberculosis kind of, it's a excessive reaction to a vaccine. It is not an infection. It doesn't require antibiotics. But you are now saying again that baby has minor infection. If your child is getting ampiclox for an infection, that is a different thing from the abscess. So you can clarify with your doctor what the ampiclox is for. So, but it's definitely not for the BCG abscess. That's what I was saying. Okay, Queen is saying my baby of 3 months old stool is green in color. It's on breast milk, it's on formula. So it depends on the formula. There are some formula that tend to give greenish color. Really those one that has iron, they tend to stain the stool greenish. But what we recommend is exclusive breastfeeding, because greenish stool can also mean baby is not getting enough food. But I guess you say you are breastfeeding, you are giving formula. So if you are doing both and your baby is still not getting enough food, then there's something wrong. But I want to believe that maybe it's due to the formula. But what we recommend is that you exclusively breastfeed your baby. Okay, Garrett is asking, can I give my 4-month-old normal food? No. Normal food from 6 months, okay? Normal food from 6 months. From now, just continue with exclusive breastfeeding. The baby is tasting your food through your breast milk. The baby is tasting it, so don't worry about it. I know you are worried that maybe, your baby is already tasting it. I know some people do that, but I personally don't recommend it, and for various reasons. We've seen babies aspirate chokes and all that. Really, all these are food that are so peppery. So please wait until your baby is ready. Okay, so she's saying, can I see a specialist pediatrician or normal pediatrician? A normal pediatrician will do at this time. So somebody is asking, I'm giving my baby vitamin D from birth. She's 10 months old now. Should I continue or just rely on her? So it depends on where you are based. I don't know whether you're based in Nigeria or you're based in the UK or other countries. So there are countries where they normally give vitamin D because they don't tend to have lots of sunlight and all that. We in Africa, we have abundance of sunlight and our children play outside. So we don't tend to recommend routine vitamin D. So I would say check with if you are based in Nigeria, I would say there's no need. If you are based outside Nigeria, please check with your health visitor or doctors over there. So Oluchi is saying, what's the age appropriate to start Ovaltine and milk? Can you see the questions now? You're still not seeing them. Ovaltine and milk, like beverages, you can start from age of 1 year. 1 year. Below 1 year, please, the only thing your baby should take is milk and water. So yes, Gareth, I got your question. Your baby should continue exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. Mrs. Nwane, what is necessary for the BCG to be drained? My daughter's own has been there for months. You don't drain BCG abscess. We don't drain it. Just leave it alone. It doesn't look like it's rupture soon. Just leave it alone. I hope you're not calling. If it's just a small swelling, no. When we say an abscess, it's like it looks like a big boil with, like, you can even see the pores or it's even leaking. That is the abscess. But if it's just a small, like a small swelling and all that, that is just a BCG scar. You don't need to drain it. You don't need to touch it. Just leave it alone, and it will clear on its own. Okay, so you've been to the hospital already. Oh, you're not supposed to drain a BCG abscess. You're not supposed to drain it. So that your hospital, they are getting you into trouble. They're not supposed to drain an abscess. We don't drain it.
The Oluchi is asking, talking about beans, can beans be included in the complementary feeding of babies?
Why not? They can eat beans. Some people worried about the gas and all that. You can peel the beans. You can peel it. You remove the skin. That is what makes them so gaseous. You can peel the beans, cook the beans itself, make it soft, mash it very well, and you're good to go. Why not? They can eat beans very well. What about soya beans that is made into milk, or you can make it into powder and then you can add it to? There are many ways to give all this food. So if you there are a lot of food groups on Facebook, on Instagram, where they talk about baby food, how to mix them. They give you a lot of recipes. You can check out some of those groups for idea if you need idea. But watch all those our videos as well. It will help you a lot. Okay, are we done?
No, I think this is a follow-up question from
Yeah,
Dr.
doctor.
Dea.
Yeah.
Said she drinks lots of water and fruit puree every day. The constipation started yesterday again.
What do you mean it started yesterday again? So you mean the stool is hard again when leadership passed to? Because so I guess I understand what you mean. So for me, I would just say if you are doing a lot of fruits, I can see fruit porridge, but I'm not seeing veggies. Try and add veggies to the mix of it as well. Preferably let the child, that is 1 year old, let them, if you can take the fruit as well. Porridge is fine. You can also let add veggies to it. But like I said, if it persists, then you may need to see a pediatrician, because we need to be sure there's nothing else going on, because some children have some other medical conditions that make them to have constipation. All right, thank you so much. Final question.
Doctors in Europe advise not to give banana and cocoa for now.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. At least you've been advised appropriately. So yeah, just make sure your baby is also taking other food that are rich in fiber. Oats is very good, rich in fiber. Veggies generally, I know most children don't like veggies, but you can peel it, you can peel it, blend it into the normal cereal and hide it. That's how we normally do it, and that's helpful as well. Okay, let me just answer the last question on Facebook, and we have to close now. Princess is saying, my baby is 6 months old, is eating and is eating well, but not sucking as before. But I notice his diaper is no longer full as before. Please, should I be worried? So if your baby is not sucking as before, your baby needs to, when you are giving complementary feeding, your baby needs to drink water. So your baby must be drinking water. Yeah, you're already saying your baby doesn't like to drink water. That is why his diaper is not. Your baby must drink water, and you must breastfeed a lot. So the breastfeeding is about you. I find that most mothers, because you are now giving other food, which is easier for you, you deliberately, consciously or unconsciously, you kind of slow down your breastfeeding. It is natural, because you now go out, you leave the babies to other people to feed for you, and of course, but if you are at home now, your baby will suck more. So that's always the challenge. But you need to deliberately make sure your baby suck. At least what I normally recommend, that when you are home, let baby suck, maybe if possible through the night, suck more. And you need to give water. You must give water after every complementary feed. So there are many ways to give water. You can give it through straw. You can let baby take the sippy cup. You must do it in a way that the baby likes it. Make it like, don't just give them water only at one particular point. You can let them take a little sips here and there throughout the whole day, and that will be helpful. All right, I guess we are finished. We are done. Oh, I'm just getting all the backup. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So for blessing, your baby had fever. Your baby. So BCG abscess will not give your baby fever. BCG abscess will not cause infection. They are two different things entirely. Just take that from me. So if your baby is having fever, your doctors have done blood tests, your doctor thinks there's an infection, then your doctor is justified to give you ampiclox. That is the infection. But BCG abscess on its own, from the vaccine on its own, it's not going to give you any of those, and there's no reason for you to worry. Okay, Nwane, I can't remember. Okay, say it's quite big, and we're told it has been there for a while. So if it's big and it's been there for a while, what we normally do is to give what we call an anti-tuberculous drug called isoniazid. That's what we give. You can go and research, read this about yourself. We usually don't recommend draining a BCG abscess. I'm telling you the real gospel truth now. There's nothing wrong with a baby 9-year-old who's gone now. Is that's whether a 9-month-old, a 9-year-old can poo 3 times a week. There's nothing wrong with that. It can poo 3 times. Different children have different bowel movement. Some do it once a week, some do it 2 times a week, some do it every day. The most important is that the child is doing it and there is no constipation. It's not hard. No, you can continue your ampiclox since your doctor is giving you for the infection. That's what I was saying. You can continue. You can use what your doctor. That's why we don't like commenting on what your doctor is doing, because you don't know. Sometimes you're not really sure what your doctor is doing, what he's doing. So it's better. Okay, thank you. All right, I think we're done. Olayinka fast, you didn't get answers to your question. You have to come and watch the video all over again. I'm sorry. Don't worry, the video will be up here because we have to go home now. No, twins should also be exclusive breastfed. So Olayinka facts. If your babies are just twins and they are just 4 months old, please continue breastfeeding. Continue breast milk. Continue breastfeeding. You can't even stop breastfeeding. You are going to continue breastfeeding till maybe 2 years. That's what we recommend. But you can start complementary feeding from 6 months, not 4 months, 6 months. That's when you should start the complementary food. All right. I think we've gone. No, we are going to go. If not, people are not going to let us go home today. All right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, no. So babies on complementary feeding babies have different movement, bowel movement. They don't have to poo every day, but the poo must be soft. It must not be hard. That is what is more important. So that's if your twins are stopping breastfeeding on their own at 4 months, something is wrong. It's wrong. It's too early for twins to stop breastfeeding. That's what Olayinka is saying. It's either you were not breastfeeding properly, or you are giving formula. That means you are doing mixed feeding, and you are doing more of the mixed feeding than the formula. And the babies have gotten what we call nipple confusion, so they prefer the formula than the breast milk, and that's why they stop. And it's not good. So when we promote breastfeeding, it's not that we want to make your life hard. It's because we're actually looking out for your children, because there's some things you will never get from your formula. You're not going to get that protection. The protection from infections and all those things, you're not going to get it from formula. You're only going to get it from breast milk. So that is why it's better for you to breastfeed your babies. So it's not about making life easier, which is what formula make life easier. But what about the protection? There's nothing that can give you those protections. So you want your baby to be protected so that you don't end up again coming in and out of the hospital. Then it's better you do it. So, and 4 months is not, you can still reintroduce them, because I'm sure your milk is not yet dry. So you can still go back, or you see your pediatrician, they can assist you with that. Okay, I think Nkechi has disappeared again. All right, thank you so much everyone for watching ATP Live on Instagram, on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me. We come again every Monday. This program has been brought to you by Ask the Paediatricians Foundation. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. And if you have any questions, if you still have questions, you can please log in to join our Facebook group. You can ask your question on our Facebook group from Mondays to Saturdays, 24 hours. We always have people there answering your questions. Unfortunately, we can't do that on Instagram for various reasons. The way Instagram is factioned, we can't do back and forth and all that. So because of that, so if you have questions, please don't slide into our DM, go to our Facebook group, post your questions there. You can also download our ATP mobile app. Our ATP mobile app is an app where you can put in your questions and you get your answer instantaneously using the artificial intelligence technology. But if the AI doesn't get it right, you can always send it to be handled by a doctor, and one of our professionals will do the answers to the questions. So thank you so much. And if you want to support us, we welcome your donation. We're a non-profit, and then you can donate through all our platforms. You will see all the details there as well. So I'll come again your way same time next week, Monday, God willing. Thank you so much for watching, and you can rewatch this program on our IGTV channel, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook group. So you can always, if you've mixed any part of the question, you can watch it all over again, or you can watch all the past episodes as well. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye from my other moderator that has disappeared. Okay.